Have you ever just wanted a makeup that did absolutely everything? Dark circles, age spots, acne scars, or even active blemishes to cover it, to last all day, never to crease and never to be seen on the skin. Well, this is it. This is Demi Colour with Saint Beauty, and it's all about color theory and about applying color where color is needed to filter out other color. Okay, this is the palette. These are all the colors. You would not need all of this, but these are all the colors that are used to filter out, to edit the distractions, and I'm just going to show you how. There are 4 things that I need you to remember. Christmas, red and green, big bird eating grapes. So just remember yellow and purple. Blue men playing with oranges. Blue and orange come together and they cancel out each other and neutralize and come to the middle. Okay, those are just some simple little ways to help you remember those colors that go together that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. Whatever distraction you're covering, be intentional with the placement. Always go to the very darkest, most saturated color that you see that is the biggest distraction to you first, and take care of that. Okay, let's start with Sculpt first. Sculpt, we're going to structure out and build up our features using the color theory as well. So these are the darker shade ones are your Sculpt colors, and they work as well, like I said, with the Christmas and the big bird eating grapes and the blue man playing with oranges. So let's do the same thing. You just got to kind of look at your face and kind of see if you can play with the colors, and don't worry if you get it wrong. It will make sense later, and just playing with the colors, you will start seeing what it's supposed to look like and what feels natural, and you'll start seeing color in your own skin. Trust me. Okay, so here I feel like I'm pretty much very yellow, and I do have hyperpigmentation, some freckles, some age spots, and I have a green vein here. So we're going to kind of just play on that, and I definitely am kind of yellow in here, yellow gold. So I'm going to use a purple Sculpt, and it takes very little, and I'm just going to build up the natural structure. See, it's like I'm building a shadow there. Instead of adding more color, I'm just kind of neutralizing what's there and building up my natural shadow. This is a vein there that's very green, so I'm going to go red and green, canceling each other out. And again, right back here with a little bit of purple Sculpt. And see how that just gives me a natural soft shadow that's not detectable on the skin. Lovely. So I'm just going to continue this process. Okay, here I'm a little bit pink, so I'm going to use a touch of green. Pink meaning red, and I'm just going to add a touch of green right there. And you know, I'm a little older, so I want a little bit of lift, make my cheeks nice and round, and this definitely gives that feel, that shadow there at my cheekbones, giving me a nice lift there. Okay, now I'm going to continue with my forehead. I definitely have age spots in here, and I've got to be cautious of those and not add color to them. And so I'm just going to do certain little placements. So here I'm very yellow right in the front of my forehead, but here I'm more pink with age spots. So I'm going to use a touch of green in certain placements where I am kind of pink. Pink meaning some red in there. So this is the green in our green, the green Sculpt. Okay, so now here where I have a lot of pigmentation, I'm going to use the red Sculpt, the red in R. Okay, now at my hairline a little more. The NR plus one is just a little more in the red pigment. See the difference between the two? Very green here with veins. So I put a little bit of the red right there. Okay, now I'm very golden here. Just want to bring that, I have a very large forehead. So I want to bring this way down. So I'm going to use purple to cancel out the gold color. And you can see that just neutralizes it, makes this pretty color that warms up. Can you imagine? That's purple that I'm putting on my skin, but it doesn't look like purple. I have a little divot here. It's like an old scar. And so it's just kind of creates this shadow. So it's dull shadow. So I'm going to say it's purple. And this is the yellow Sculpt. And yellow and purple cancel each other. And you can see when I put that on there, how that disappears. Now, if I have any spots that show through, I'm just taking a little bit of my NR over age spots. So typically age spots are green, and sometimes they can be yellow. Hang on one second. Okay, now I want to kind of build up and add a little structure to here in my jaw area. So you naturally have a shadow there. I definitely have more yellow here. So again, I'm going to use purple, and works nicely because that purple gives me a nice shadow. And look, when you're touching the tin, I mean, look, you'd be amazed how very little of this like stain. I don't want to be misled by the word stain, thinking this is staining the skin, but that's the only way, because of the opacity is so low, that it's not detectable in the skin. So see here, I want a little extra cut there. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that purple there and build on that. Now back in here, I have some hyperpigmentation. Do you see that right in there? So I want to take care of that. I'm going to use a smaller brush. I'm going to use this little brush here, and I am just going to place some NR, this over those areas of hyperpigmentation, and this is going to give me another hint of shadow there as well, and here. And those pigmentations that are, well, they disappeared, are a little darker. I'm just going to use orange, because just to remember, a rule of thumb is anything that has significant colors has blue in it. So it may not look blue to you, but just remember that as a rule of thumb, that if something has a significant amount of color, just go with blue. So you're going to use some orange over it to filter it and edit it out. Here I'm going to use some yellow on my chin, where it's kind of purple right there, and I'm just going to use some yellow Sculpt there it's the +1, just at my chin where I'm very purple, which is very typical of us. The older we get, a lot of center of the face gets a lot of traffic and a lot of abuse, and we'll get some red, broken capillaries, that kind of thing. Okay, now I'm going to sculpt out my nose. I'm going to use this small brush again, and just trying that there's multiple colors on my nose, but definitely pigmentation here. So that's going to be the red pigmentation being green. Typically is rule of thumb, just remember that if you have hyperpigmentation, green to gold. See how that just neutralizes it? Again, I have it over here as well. So I'm just going to take a little bit of NR. So the top of my nose is very pink, so we're going to go with the green, the NG, just right on the top of it. And you don't want to layer over your colors, but sometimes, you know, they're going to meet, but that's okay. And then down here at the end of my nose, I'm pink there at the top. Okay, so now here I'm pretty got some pigmentation there, so I'm going to go with the red. And look, I want to show you, see how it's just a little too much. There's either two things, wrong color or too much product. And you see when I took off some of the product there, and I don't have as much as on my brush on this side, you could see that's much better. So you just use that as a rule of thumb. Okay, so that's Sculpt. This is very purple, so I'm going to use some yellow Sculpt at the end of my nose, just down in there because it's kind of purple. And then that's all Sculpt.